Imagine this. There's a guy you see every day, maybe a coworker, classmate, or friend. He seems normal, maybe even distant, but what if he's secretly obsessed with you? He notices everything: your coffee order, the way you tuck your hair behind your ear, even how your eyes shine in the sunlight. He replays every conversation, overanalyzing every glance and touch. But here's the twist: he's terrified you'll figure it out. Why? Because knowing how much he cares would expose him, make him vulnerable. So, he hides it, acting distant, avoiding eye contact, or even teasing you just to throw you off. But what if you've been missing the signs? The truth is, a man obsessed with you can't help but leave subtle clues. And once you spot them, you'll never see him the same way again. Are you ready to uncover the truth? Take a cup of tea and stay with me, because what you're about to learn might change everything. So if you are new here, do not forget to subscribe to Soulful and be part of our family where souls meet and heart heals. In the book Single on Purpose, John Kim said, "We try so hard to avoid rejection, but in doing so, we reject ourselves before anyone else ever has a chance." If you don't want to miss the signs that could reveal his hidden feelings, stay with me till the very end, because some of these are almost impossible to catch unless you know what to look for. Number 1. His eyes can't resist you, but he'll never admit it. You know that feeling when you sense someone watching you? You turn your head, and for a split second, you catch him staring. But the moment your eyes meet, boom, he looks away, pretending it never happened. This isn't just a coincidence. It's an instinct. He's drawn to you in a way he can't control, but he's terrified of being caught. His heart races every time you're near, but he convinces himself to stay subtle. So, instead of holding eye contact, he steals glances when he thinks you're not looking. And here's the truth: when a guy is secretly obsessed with you, his eyes betray him. No matter how hard he tries to act indifferent, his gaze always finds its way back to you. Whether he's across the room or sitting right next to you, he'll check to see what you're doing, how you're reacting, or if you're paying attention to him. Pay attention, because the way he looks at you might just reveal everything he's too scared to say. And don't go anywhere yet, because sign 15 is the biggest giveaway of all. And trust me, it might just shock you. Number 2. He loses his cool when you're around. Ever noticed how his whole vibe shifts when you're near? One moment, he's laughing with his friends, totally at ease. But the second you step into the room, everything changes. His voice wavers, he fidgets, maybe he suddenly goes quiet, or, on the flip side, he starts talking too much. That's not a coincidence. That's nerves in overdrive. When a guy secretly likes you but is too scared to show it, his body betrays him. His hands might twitch, he might clear his throat more than usual, or he might start adjusting his clothes as if he's trying to subconsciously impress you. Even his tone of voice can shift. He might suddenly sound deeper, or he could start stumbling over his words like his brain and mouth are out of sync. Why? Because you make him nervous in the best way possible. He's so focused on not messing up around you that he ends up doing exactly that. So, if you catch him acting different, pay attention. His nerves might just be the biggest giveaway of all. Number 3. He can't stay away even if he tries. Ever notice how he's always nearby? He doesn't just randomly show up. It's almost like he's drawn to you. Whether he suddenly appears in places he never used to be or always finds an excuse to talk to you, it's no accident. He might, accidentally, brush against you, linger a little longer than necessary, or conveniently need your help with the simplest things. And in a crowded room? He somehow always ends up right next to you. This isn't coincidence. It's his way of being close without making it obvious. When a guy secretly likes you but is too scared to admit it, he won't say it outright. Instead, his presence will say it for him. He craves your attention, your energy, and just being around you, even if he pretends it doesn't mean anything. Number 4. His friends can't hide what he won't admit. Ever walked into a room and noticed his friends smirking, nudging him, or exchanging knowing glances? Maybe they tease him when you're around, or he suddenly looks flustered and tries to shut them up. That's not random, it's a dead giveaway. When a guy secretly likes you, his friends almost always know before you do. He's probably talked about you, acted differently around you, or made it painfully obvious to them, even if he's doing his best to keep it a secret from you. And trust me, his friends love messing with him about it. They might drop subtle hints, say his name when you walk by, or even joke about you two being a thing. And no matter how hard he tries to play it cool, their reactions always betray him. If his friends are acting suspicious, they know something you don't, he's into you. Number 5. He remembers the little things because you matter. You casually mention your favorite coffee once, and the next time you see him, he surprises you with it. Weeks ago, you told him your pet's name in passing, and somehow, he still remembers. He even recalls the random things, like your favorite song, the story you told about your childhood, or how you always get cold in air-conditioned rooms. This isn't just politeness, it's deep interest. When a guy secretly likes you, he listens differently. Every little thing you say sticks with him because, to him, those details matter. He's not just making conversation, he's genuinely invested in knowing you on a deeper level. And the best part? He won't just remember, he'll find small ways to show you. Maybe he plays your favorite song when you're around, brings you an extra sweater when it's cold, or casually brings up something you forgot you even mentioned. Because when a guy truly likes you, nothing about you feels small to him. Number 6. He gets jealous but tries to play it cool. Ever noticed his mood shift the second you mention another guy? Maybe his smile fades, he suddenly seems distracted, or he awkwardly changes the subject. Sometimes, he might even tease you about it, but not in a fun way. That's jealousy, and it's a dead giveaway. A guy who secretly likes you but is too afraid to admit it won't outright say he's jealous. Instead, he'll try to hide it, maybe by acting indifferent, getting unusually quiet, or suddenly finding a reason to leave the conversation. In some cases, he might even start talking about another girl just to see how you react. But pay attention to the subtle signs. Does he get defensive? Does he seem irritated or uninterested when you talk about someone else? If he cares enough to feel jealous, he definitely cares more than he's letting on. Number 7. His body speaks what he won't say. Have you ever noticed that when you lean in, he leans in too? When you take a sip of your drink, he does the same just seconds later? Or maybe when you cross your arms, he unknowingly mirrors you. That's not a coincidence, it's subconscious attraction. When a guy secretly likes you, his body naturally syncs with yours. It's called mirroring, and it's one of the strongest nonverbal signs of connection. Without realizing it, he copies your gestures, posture, and even the way you speak because his brain is wired to feel closer to you. Next time you're around him, try changing your position or making a small movement. If he follows suit without thinking, it means he's emotionally in tune with you. His actions are revealing what his words won't. And the stronger his feelings, the more obvious it becomes. Even in a group setting, his body will naturally align with yours, facing you, angling toward you, and unconsciously gravitating closer. Number 8. His social media behavior is a little too focused on you. Ever noticed how he likes your posts almost instantly? Or how he always seems to view your stories, every single one, without fail? Maybe he comments on things that aren't even that interesting, just to have a reason to interact with you. That's not random. That's obsession in disguise. When a guy secretly likes you, his digital footprint starts revolving around you. He might not text you directly, but he'll engage with your posts just enough to stay on your radar. Maybe he shares songs, quotes, or memes that suspiciously match things you've talked about. And if he's really into you, he might even go back and like old posts, ones you forgot even existed. Pay attention. If he's low-key always there but never actually says anything, he's probably trying to stay connected without giving himself away. His heart is in your notifications, even if his words aren't. Number 9. He's casually way too interested in your love life. So are you seeing anyone? Sounds innocent, right? But if he keeps sneaking that question into conversations, or worse, asking your friends, he's not just making small talk. He's fishing for information. He might play it cool, act like he's just making conversation, or even joke about it, but deep down, he needs to know. Is there competition? Do you have a type? Is there even a chance for him? Pay attention to how he reacts when you mention another guy. Does he suddenly seem less engaged, change the subject, or make a sarcastic comment? And if he ever says, "I just want to make sure he's a good guy," trust me, that's not concern. That's quiet jealousy wrapped in fake casualness. Number 10. His compliments are subtle but full of meaning. Instead of saying, "Wow, you're gorgeous," he says, "That color really suits you." Instead of, "I love your smile," he says, "You always seem so happy, it's nice to be around." See the pattern? He's complimenting you, but in a way that feels casual, like he's testing the waters. He wants to acknowledge how amazing you are, but he's afraid of making it too obvious. These subtle compliments aren't just words, they're tiny confessions, slipping out before he can stop them. And if he remembers details, like how he once told you blue is your color, and months later, he compliments your blue dress, that's not random. That's a man who notices everything about you, but is too scared to say just how much. Number 11. He supports you even in the smallest ways. Did he wish you luck before your big presentation? Did he casually show up at your event just to check it out? Maybe he remembers that tiny goal you mentioned weeks ago and asks how it's going. That's not just kindness. That's quiet devotion. A guy who secretly likes you won't just be there for the big moments. He'll celebrate the small wins, too. Whether it's encouraging you before a test, hyping up your new hobby, or even just remembering that you love a certain book and recommending one just like it, his support is his way of staying connected. He may not say, "I like you," but his actions are screaming it. And if he's always in your corner, rooting for you like your biggest fan, chances are, he's already fallen hard. Number 12. He's always there no matter what you need. Need a last-minute favor? He's there. Having a bad day? He listens. Struggling with something? He's offering to help before you even ask. This isn't just friendliness, it's devotion in disguise. A guy who secretly likes you makes himself reliably available. He won't just be there for the big moments, he'll show up for the small, inconvenient ones too. Whether it's helping you carry something heavy, staying up late to talk when you're upset, or just checking in on you randomly, his consistency speaks louder than any words ever could. Because when a man truly cares, he won't just tell you, he'll prove it. Number 13. He tries to impress you even in the strangest ways. Suddenly, he's mentioning how much he lifts at the gym, or how his boss praised him at work, or even how he helped an old lady cross the street last week. Why? Because he wants you to see him as someone special. When a guy secretly likes you, he'll find ways, sometimes awkward, sometimes random, to highlight his best qualities. He won't just tell you he's kind, strong, or successful. He'll casually drop stories that show it. It's his way of standing out, of making sure you see him as more than just another guy. So if he suddenly starts flexing, literally or figuratively, don't ignore it. He's hoping you'll notice. Number 14. He subconsciously mirrors your actions. Ever noticed him sipping his drink right after you do? Or leaning in when you lean in? Maybe he even picks up on your phrases or mimics your expressions without realizing it. That's not a coincidence, it's psychology at play. When someone is deeply attracted to you, their brain naturally syncs with yours. It's an unconscious way of building a connection, making you feel more comfortable around them. If he's mirroring your body language, tone, or habits, it's a sign he's drawn to you in a way he might not even understand himself. It's his subconscious way of saying, "I feel connected to you." Even his texting style might start to mirror yours. If you use emojis, he suddenly does too. If you type in short messages, so does he. This mirroring is a subtle but powerful form of attraction, showing that he's completely in tune with you. His words may not confess it, but his actions do. And actions, as they say, speak louder than words. Number 15. He drops hints but never confesses. He'll casually say things like, "I wish I could find someone like you." Or, "If I had a girlfriend, she'd be just like you." It sounds innocent, right? But don't be fooled, this is his way of testing the waters without risking rejection. He wants to see your reaction. Does your face light up? Do you laugh it off? Does it make you think about him differently? He's planting the idea in your mind, hoping you'll pick up on it. But at the same time, he keeps it vague enough so he can backtrack if needed. Why? Because he's terrified of making things awkward. So instead of confessing outright, he leaves breadcrumbs, subtle hints that he's into you, waiting for you to connect the dots. And if you don't, he'll keep trying, in small ways, hoping one day, you'll finally see what he's too scared to say out loud. Number 16. He finds ways to touch you. Brushing against your hand, fixing something on your sleeve, or nudging you playfully, these small gestures mean a lot more than you think. Touch is one of the biggest indicators of attraction. But here's the thing, he won't make it obvious. Instead, he'll find excuses. Oh, you've got something in your hair. Or, wow, your hands are freezing. Just so he can make brief contact. Why? Because even the smallest touch helps him feel closer to you. He's testing boundaries, seeing how you react, and secretly hoping you don't pull away. If you catch him doing this often, it's a major sign he's drawn to you, but too nervous to fully show it. And if he's the type to avoid physical contact with others but somehow always finds a reason to touch you, that's a huge clue. Sometimes, he might even fake a reason to be near, like adjusting your bracelet or brushing lint off your sweater, just for that tiny moment of connection. His actions might seem casual, but his mind is racing, wondering if you notice, if you feel the same, and if you'll ever realize just how much he wants to be close to you. Now that you know these 16 secret signs, take a moment to think, has someone been acting this way around you? Because chances are, someone likes you way more than you realize. But here's the real question, what will you do about it? Will you give them subtle hints back? Or will you wait and see if they finally build the courage to confess? Remember, people often regret the chances they didn't take. So if you sense a connection, don't be afraid to explore it. Sometimes, all it takes is a small nudge in the right direction to turn a secret crush into something real. And if you want to dive deeper into the psychology of attraction and relationships, stay tuned, because the next video will reveal even more secrets about how to truly understand the way people feel about you. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.